Well, we'll talk about some of those people and some of those players that you think might be the players that will pull the trigger this weekend. That, of course, coming up on the show. And if you want to get the inside information, BlueWhiteIllustrated.com is where Ryan writes all this stuff. And in the Lions Den message board is where you get inside access. First information, usually when it comes out, Ryan is putting it up on the message board. And you can get all of that for just $1. 12 months of access gets you all that information. Zero inflation. It's locked in for a year. And even if it were $19.99, a dollar is still a deal, Ryan. Doesn't have to be the 21st century. A dollar is a dollar. So perfect time to sign up right now for all the weekend stuff ahead of us.
Yep, and even going in July when we'll see a bunch of commitments. So good time of the year, especially because it goes all the way. Obviously, it's a year, so it'll go into next June as well. And summer has now become the time of the year for big moves in the junior recruiting class, which is of course this year's 2023. So
Yep.
Sign up, guys. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll be talking next year at this time about the class of 2024, which even in my brain still sounds like a sci-fi date. The year is 2024, and we still don't have flying cars, and things aren't as nice as you thought they'd be. So anyway, we have you put in a recruiting prediction this week. So let's get to that to start off the show. Talked a little bit about it earlier in the week, but let's review who it is and what's going on that you see on the horizon for Penn State this weekend.
Yeah, Tyriq Blanding, of course, who was just here this past weekend. Tyriq put it out, I don't know, what was it, Monday night, Tuesday night, that he'll be announcing on Saturday, and we were expecting him to go to Michigan, and now he is not doing that. And, well, whenever you just come off an official visit and you announce 2 days later that you're going to, make a commitment, I think pretty much the writing is on the wall there. So I don't expect a whole lot of drama with this one. Tyriq is a 6'2", 265. I have him at. That's where he checked in last weekend. We had him at 275, 280, a little bit lighter, which is fine. Penn State's all for guys. Obviously, they don't want him really light, but
Right.
all for having a little bit lighter and packing on muscle when they get here. And I think that will work out well with Tyriq. So
And he's got a
three-star
good frame.
prospect, right?
Right, so
Yeah,
you can see him here on film if you're watching on YouTube. Great frame. I don't have any concerns about that looking at his profile.
Yeah, so 89 on the scale for On3. A 90 is a 4-star prospect, so he is the highest rated 3-star you can possibly be. We have it number 48 in the nation for defensive tackle prospects, and to give some depth on that, in the consensus, he's number 105. So On3 ranks him pretty highly compared to 24/7, ESPN, Rivals, etc. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him moving up on some other sites, which of course would increase his On3 consensus rating at some point. But like I said, Michigan was in the mix on this one. Syracuse was in the mix. He did go all the way out to see Oregon at one point earlier in the spring. And did I say Syracuse? I think West Virginia is the other one. Those are pretty much his top 5. But again, man, when you come for an official visit and you announce a couple days later that you're going to announce a commitment, I think this one's pretty clear where it's headed.
Yeah, and you mentioned his star rating and gave great context to that. But I want to ask you about where he comes from Queens. And I apologize. I had the name of the school in front of me, but he's from Queens, so not known as a hotbed of football activity and a place that a lot of elite players come from. Is that a part of the recruiting evaluation, or is it simply just that he's 6'2", 265? Because watching him on film, like from a physical standpoint, I was way more impressed than I thought I would be with his attributes for a 3-star prospect. Great quickness, explosiveness off the ball. So curious as to, like, is there less information or less testing numbers than we would have known to maybe make him a 4-star?
Well, no, there aren't many testing numbers. He hasn't camped anywhere from what I understand. But one thing I would say, though, is I think New York City is a better place for talent than most people give it credit for. And of course, Disa Isaac's on the program now. Canarsi's a really good program. Shamir Fredericks is a 2024 prospect. I think we're going to be talking about a lot. Caleb Artis, of course, came out of New York, and Musa Kane he plays at Blair Academy. But he's originally from New York City as well. So there's definitely, New York City has been a focal point for Penn State for quite a few years now, and that hasn't changed at all. Stacy Collins, I believe, is the one overseeing the region now. But of course, once Penn State gets a foot in the door with the player, the position coach pretty much takes it over. But we will see as far as moving him up. Like I said, I don't believe he's really camped anywhere. At least I don't have any testing numbers on him. We know, like I said, 6'2", 265, and solid reach. I believe it's 32. It's right under 33. I think it's like 32 and 3/4, something like that. So good reach. But no, we don't have too many testing numbers, and that will make it tougher for him to move up. But of course, if he goes off this fall and puts up some freaky tape, that'll go a long way.
Yeah, I mean, it is impressive tape as it is. If you watch the highlight, he's one guy that I've dug into a little bit because of the obvious. You putting in the pick is the bat signal for me to go in and start watching film. And sometimes what you see on film is not what you see on the highlight tape, but it is pretty consistent as far as his snap off the ball and everything you see that we showed you here on YouTube. That shows up consistently. So I would love to know his testing numbers, but the players he's going up against, not all of them, I think, are on his level, which is why the testing numbers are important, right? So you can dominate and look great on film, but what's your level of competition and what's the consistency of that competition? Like, is there one good school? Is there 5? So, that would be interesting. But either way, I think the point is Penn State is getting a very quality defensive tackle prospect in a group of players where we highlighted a lot of other guys so far this year. And I should say Penn State is predicted to get a player here that is a quality prospect among quality prospects that have a higher pedigree at the moment.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, I would say Christ the King is definitely one of the better programs as far as developing talent. They've had quite a few guys come out in recent years, but New York. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of individual talent there, but there's not a ton of stacked teams. I mean, Canarसी's one that comes to mind, and Emmaus, a couple others, of course. But the quality player, man. Penn State's going to continue to recruit New York City. I think if they could get one player out of the city every 2 years or so. I think that's kind of, if you look back over the years, that's about what their average has been, at least under Franklin.
Yeah.
And I see that continuing here over the coming years. Like I said, Shamir Fredericks is going to be a player I think we're going to be talking about a lot in 2024.
Yeah, with that and with the New England, Connecticut region, Penn State mining talent in an area where it's not Florida, but if you can find any advantage when it comes to all of the players you can find across the nation, Penn State doing their best to do that. So let's move on to the official visits this weekend. Would you like to start the bidding with the committed players or the uncommitted players as far as who you're looking at this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I'm just going to skip over the committed guys. I know the committed guys watch this all the time. Love you guys. Appreciate you, all your help. But come on. I mean, you guys, pretty much everybody's pretty firm. Although I will say Conrad Hussey did go to Miami this past weekend, or this past week. I believe he was there on Wednesday. He put that up on his Instagram. That is a visit I did not know about. But I can't pretend I talked to Conrad a ton. So we'll keep an eye on that moving forward. But the uncommitted guys are certainly are the players that have all the fans' attention. Derek LeBlanc, defensive lineman out of Florida. Tamarian Parker, another defensive end, I believe. We have him at 6'4", 260-ish right now. So I'll be curious to get his height and weight out of this weekend, and that'll have a big impact on which position he will truly play at. But 2 defensive linemen there from down south will be up this weekend, as I said, in LeBlanc and Parker. Penn State's hosting its top 2 linebacker prospects in Tamir Robinson and Tony Rojas. Jalen Thompson, defensive end out of Cass Tech in Detroit, was a late add. He was actually supposed to come next weekend, and he bumped it up. We can talk about that in a second. London Montgomery from Scranton, PA. London is somebody I've been kind of watching to end up at Penn State for a while now. I'm not sure if it'll be this weekend, but I do feel good that that's trending in the right direction. King Mack, of course, is the guy that I'll be focused on the most this weekend. And Jakeem Jackson, another defensive back out of pretty much outside of the Orlando area. Those are the 8 uncommitted guys this weekend. Who do you want to get into first, Steve Frank? There's a lot of good names there.
Well, let's get into King Mack and just the question about Conrad Hussey, teammates. That felt like not that it was a sole selling point, but both guys seem interested in the program. Is that something you're going to monitor with Conrad and his status going forward? He also received an offer from Oklahoma recently. Do you see that playing into this at all, or is this individual decisions by the 2 players independent of one another?
Well, it certainly helps. I said hurts. Certainly helps when you have a teammate committed to a school, and there really wasn't a ton of talk about King Mack until Conrad committed. And of course, we didn't really expect Conrad to commit either. That was kind of the one big surprise this year, I would say. But since then, talking to people that conversations with Mack and his family have been going on for a long time now. And I'll get right to the chase. I mean, I fully expect King Mack to be a Nittany Lion here at some point, whether it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or even if he waits a little bit longer, we'll see. I think he will be committed to Penn State by the time he leaves campus this week. And, whether it's announced right then, we'll see. But he's been the one player that's been consistently mentioned to me for probably a month or two now, that, everything was in line as far as Penn State's relationship with him. He really liked Penn State, and really the only thing holding him back from announcing something was seeing Penn State for the first time. So that will take place this weekend. Mom should be coming up with him. It should be a good group. And like I said, he's the other one that I have fully circled. So Blanding, we know, definitely be Saturday afternoon, and I feel pretty confident saying King Mack should be a Nittany Lion by the end of the day on Sunday, but maybe he'll wait a little bit longer to publicly announce it. But all signs are certainly pointing to him ending up here.
And interestingly, watching the two players on film, the teammates, and it's fun watching them side by side. Despite Conrad Hussey being the bigger player, the way King Mack plays, you saw all the beginning of his highlight tape is all interceptions. He's the better run defender. He is a very physical player, so his versatility in the secondary, you see him playing in a deep free safety role. He plays up at the line of scrimmage. A lot of zone for St. Thomas, so the questions that I know a lot of fans say, he's so fast, play him at corner. Both he and Hussey, their man coverage skills are a complete unknown, but I think he's got the versatility to play at least 3 positions for Penn State in Manny Diaz's defense. So that flexibility in this class, as they go after a lot of players at that safety position, should also be a huge help for the Nittany Lions in this recruiting class.